Have you ever struggled with getting results, specifically results with your physique? So maybe you've worked out a long time and your body's not changing at all, it's staying the same, or you're gaining weight the more you work out. Perhaps you got halfway to your goal or three-quarters of a way to your goal, and you've hit a plateau and you can't lose the rest of the weight. Or maybe you're like me, where you've lifted weights for many years and gains are more difficult to get. You're a little bit older. You have already made quite a few gains. When I say gains, I mean muscle gains in skeletal muscle. And changing your body or increasing muscle or changing your legs or building your glutes just a little bit harder because you've reached a plateau. You've worked out for many years. Maybe your body's adapt. Perhaps you've had an injury, a surgery like what I did. There's so many reasons for not getting results. One of the most frustrating thing I see my clients experience is if they're trying to lose a significant amount of weight and the scale simply isn't budging. Now, there's a lot of reasons in women, especially in midlife women, who are in particular in late perimenopause. These are the years leading up to menopause, or they've already transitioned through menopause and they're on the other side. There's many, many reasons why these women might experience some difficulty losing weight. So even though menopause isn't directly causing the weight gain, the hormonal changes are setting off a cascade, making things just a little bit more difficult. This is going to be today's topic. We have a solo episode with yours truly. And I want to start out by just doing a very quick update. I promised this. I had my back surgery, my spinal fusion, along with some other back procedures done. Oh, I'm on week 9. So it's been 9 weeks ago. I have 3 more weeks in the back brace, but I will probably continue to use it in the gym or for longer walks, or maybe even when I drive, just for safety, because the healing process is going to go on for several months and I can feel that I'm just not 100% there. And the experience overall, I had a good experience in Arizona. The surgery went well, it went smoothly. I'm very pleased with my neurosurgeon. The pain that I had for over 8 years, the nerve pain is really pretty much gone. Every once in a while, I get these little twinges if I'm out maybe walking too far, too fast, or I'm at the gym and kind of move a certain way. I'll get these little nerve burning pains down that leg. And believe me, it always scares me because I think, oh no, did I undo the spinal fusion? But that's typically, I was talking to my nurse practitioner and she said that really is just more of irritation and inflammation as the body is healing and you get these kind of tweaks. Another thing was they had to move all of the muscles in that area of my lower back. So my spine was fused at L3, L4, and they had to shift these muscles among many other things that they did. It was a robotic surgery and they had a whole team in there. But that is really quite painful when you first, that first week of healing, definitely, and you go to move those muscles, you can really feel that pain and discomfort there. And then throughout the healing process, they flare up and on both sides, even on the side where I didn't have any problems. I'll be repeating an x-ray in about 3 to 4 weeks, and I'll be speaking with my surgeon in about 4 weeks, and I'll share with you what the results were, because really that is an important x-ray that I'm going to have done, where they're going to look at how well the fusion went. Did it actually take? Are things healing as they're supposed to be doing? Was the fusion successful? So I have to admit, I'm a little nervous about all of this. I think that's natural. And every time I get twinges and pains, I'm definitely having a few today. I I start to doubt things a little bit, but I'm going to be patient and I'll keep you updated. I remember in my newsletter, if you're on my newsletter, I was talking about how I had a really weird experience waking up out of anesthesia, which is not uncommon. I woke up and I'm still to this day not sure if I dreamt this or if it actually happened. But for whatever reason, when I woke up, I think it was just all the medication. It's just very different from other surgeries I've had done. I felt more medicated. They had to have me flipped over on my stomach. And when I first woke up, I kind of had these, I don't know if you'd call them flashbacks. I do have a history of trauma, and I was diagnosed with chronic PTSD some years ago. And so certain things will trigger it. And for whatever reason, when I woke up, I was just confused and triggered and was having these emotions. And I remember telling the post op nurse about this, and she was so kind and so sweet and said, That happens, you're okay. I'm going to get you some more medicine. And she's talking to me. And so to this day, I'm not sure if that actually happened or if I dreamt it and that it was all a dream. So there was just some unusual experiences. I know also coming out of surgery, I felt the need to reassess my time, how I spend my time, and the direction my business is going. And I do this periodically anyway. I've done it several times since I started online business. I even did it when I was a personal trainer and taught group fitness. I would reassess my schedule. What do I want to teach? What do I want to do? Where is this going? And so I'm in the process of reassessing right now, but it's a little bit more in depth than I've done in the past. I've realized that I really have got to, I've talked about streamlining before, but what I tend to do is I'll take one thing off my plate and add 3 or 4 in, which is not streamlining. So I'm really holding myself accountable. I'll keep you posted on some of the changes. I am changing, once again, going to change up my one-on-one program just a little bit. I do have limited availability in there. If you are interested, you can go to carolcavino.com and click on the tab for Fit and Fierce. It explains the program, it tells you the cost, everything about the program, and then you can schedule a call to consult with me. This is not a coaching call, it's just a call to see if it's a good fit. But I will be changing some of the criteria of who I work with. And I just want to make this clear. I'm not changing the criteria because I think somebody is bad or they can't be helped, or I think I'm not a good enough coach to help that person. I've just realized that I have a specialty and an expertise where I work particularly well with certain individuals and can really get them results. And in other situations, and I'm not blaming anyone, I'm not shaming anyone. For whatever reason, it's just not a fit for them or for my expertise. So I'm really going to make this extremely specific and limit even further whom I work with one-on-one, because there will be a point where I will probably move to more of a group model. I did this in the past and then went back to the one-on-one, but I'll probably be moving to kind of a hybrid of where someone will have the benefits of the one-on-one, but it will be more of a group program. But I'm not there yet. So for the time being, I'm going to switch up the Fit and Fierce. I have not launched Slim Stomach in some time. I'm kind of rethinking that. I would like to re-record the videos because those were recorded back in 2021, and my viewpoints and my knowledge have actually changed since then. So when I do re-release that program, it will be somewhat different. It will be a different focus. And also, I am still working on the membership. So I have set up an appointment to actually walk through the membership site. It will not be on my website. It will be housed in a site called Searchy. They're actually going to change the name of that, but it's a site that specializes in memberships. And so it's very good for people being able to choose their track. So they can choose beginner, intermediate, advanced, and they can go on a different trajectory in that membership. That will be more of it will not be a hands-on model. It will not be one-on-one coaching or texting back and forth. None of that. It will be, you'll work independently through the workouts, independently through the nutrition plan and recipes and things such as that. It will have a faith-based component, but I don't want to discourage you if your beliefs are a little bit different. The way this is going to be structured, how I am going to share my faith is in such a way that really everyone can benefit from this information and from the model. I will not be preaching, I will not be conducting studies, but there will be an element of Christianity, which is my faith and spirituality in there. And like I said, it will not be an in-your-face thing, a judgmental thing, nothing like that. I want to keep this fun and I want to make it accessible for everyone. And final announcement before we launch into today's material, and I apologize, this is a very long intro today, is I am graduating. Well, I already went to the graduation ceremony, but tomorrow technically is my last class for functional medicine health coaching. So I have passed everything. I've done all the criteria. I am officially a functional medicine health coach. It was a year-long program. It was very extensive. There was a lot of work. There was a lot of study. There were weekly meetings. Quite a bit went into this. And so that's also going to change my business model a little bit because I'm hoping to perhaps reach out to some practitioners in the field who are either integrative or even if they're not integrative, if they're open to a functional medicine approach, as a health coach, I would be able to help their patients implement whatever plan they're put on. So, for instance, if the doctor has said, you have autoimmune. I would like you to be on an anti-inflammatory diet. I would like you to do this type of exercise. I would be there to support and to help that client to implement and maybe do some group components as well. So I'm still working that out. That will probably come, the functional medicine coaching will probably come in January. And I'll also be sitting on the National Health Board exam. So I will be nationally board certified, which means I meet a certain criteria. The way it stands now, y'all might not realize, but somebody can call themselves, somebody could say, I'm a functional health coach, and there's really no standard behind it. Maybe they took an online course or maybe they just called themselves that, but I wanted the extra training and the certification to really back up what I do. So I am officially graduated, and today is my birthday. Today is August 21st, and I am 63 years old. Now, when you listen to this, I can't remember when. I think it's a couple of weeks from now. That'll be past. But in the future, I will update you on how that x-ray goes. And I don't do this for myself. I do this for those of you that may have had to have some type of orthopedic surgery. Maybe it's knee, back, shoulder, or you've had a chronic injury. You've had a chronic illness that has set you back. You're on your way back from that. And it's going to play into today's topic of why we don't see results. And this is not going to be your typical, it's definitely not going to be eat less, exercise more. It's definitely not going to be a list of things like you need a good night's sleep, although that's important, or manage your stress. It's not going to be those things. I'm not even going to really talk about macronutrients much. I'm going to hit on protein, but I'm not going to go into the macronutrients. This is going to be very different. So please stay tuned for all of these. And you might want to take a few notes because there's some good little things in here. I've been thinking about this literally since I woke up from surgery. And before I start, boy, a long intro. It also came from seeing people use situations like mine as an excuse to not do anything, as an excuse to sit on the couch and gain 60, 70, 80, 90 pounds. I met with a woman that literally had gained, she lost 90 pounds. She gained, I believe it was 95 back. I believe she gained all of the 90 plus more over the course of 3 months. And there was a victimhood to the story. I hope she's not listening to this and tracked me down. I don't think she knows my name. But you know what? If she is listening, maybe it's good. Maybe that's a good thing because sometimes honesty is really what we need. Not shaming, but honesty. And that's what I want to give you today. So let's dive into the material. I do have a few notes off to the side. I'm definitely a note person, and I do absolutely awful with any kind of like the subtitles up. I've tried it. I look like a deer in the headlights. I've really got to work on that one because I could definitely use that technique. So first of all, this is going to be a more tangible physical reason, and bear with me. It's something you've heard, but the things I'm going to talk about later on maybe aren't things that you've heard, or you're going to hear them differently today. So, first of all, protein, you've heard me talk protein, protein, protein. As we age, we actually need more protein, not less, because we don't synthesize it as well. We're not able to take the protein from the food, break it down, and put it in the little amino acid pool and use this pool of amino acids as well as we could in our 20s and 30s. And I'm 63, even in my 40s and 50s. This is declining. So we actually need more and not less. And how does this work with results? Well, if you're lifting weight and you're not getting the right amount of protein, and your nutrition is off, you're simply not going to you'll make gains. You can make gains, but research has shown that they are not going to be as significant. Once again, muscle gain is what I'm talking about here, not as significant as if you ate a higher protein diet. Now, that doesn't mean you need to go crazy and eat this huge amount, but you do need an adequate amount for your body. So there was this guy, and I actually just recently heard about this. I don't know this person. He was all over social media and he has a big following. And he was saying that you don't need protein to build muscle at all. So the reality is, yes, you can build some muscle, even if you were on a terrible diet. I mean, when I first started strength training and lifting weights and working with a trainer, I wouldn't say my diet was terrible, but it definitely was not on point. I did a lot of chips and diet sodas and snacking, and I had this huge sweet tooth. I ate a lot of pasta, a lot of breads. I didn't eat much protein. I did begin to change my body. But I remember at a certain point, I was pretty frustrated because it just sort of stopped. And it's not like I gained a bunch of weight, but I just simply wasn't seeing the results. And that's when I spoke with a coach, talked about the protein, began incorporating that. And when I did and incorporated the right type, the right timing, the right amount, I began to see the results. And research has actually shown this. So I am going to cite a research study. I'll need to look that up. I have it in my notes, but I'm going to cite that in the show notes. So if you want to go to the show notes and on your own sort of check it out and read the research study, you are welcome to do so. Next up, okay, we know protein's important. Now, how does it relate to results in terms of weight loss? A couple of different ways. It's satiating, so you feel more full when you eat protein. It's thermogenic. You actually burn more energy, more calories to break down protein than you do fat or carbohydrates. It has, I believe it's a thermogenic effect up to 25%. So it is actually, like I said, burning energy. So it's filling you up. It's kind of revving up your metabolism as you're breaking that down. It's supporting your muscle. The more quality, and this is important, quality lean skeletal muscle that you have, the body fat is going to tend to be lower. It's going to be lower. That muscle is going to be higher, body fat's lower, and your basal metabolic rate goes up. Super important. Something I see a lot of, and it really kind of drives me batty, is people will go do some type of body scan or some type of test, and they'll come back and they'll be significantly overweight. And I don't mean a few pounds, like obese, and they'll say, but I have a lot of muscle, but they're not having quality muscle. So the muscle that might be showing up on that scan isn't taking into effect the quality. How much visceral fat do you have that's wrapped around the organs? that's wrapped around the liver, that's interfering with the heart. That is not the pinch and inch subcutaneous body fat that irritates us. That body fat is not dangerous. It's the dangerous visceral body fat. And it's not taking into account, is that muscle surrounded by fat? So this is a terrible example. Everyone uses it, and there's really no better example to use. But you think of the quality steaks and you think of the filet mignon, it just has a little bit of marbling. And I actually saw this on my MRI. Just a little bit of that fat marbled through, and the doctor even made a comment like it was a filet mignon, a steak. But if you're getting that big fatty steak and it's all, all this fat surrounding that muscle, that is not quality lean muscle. So you have to think of the quality, and that's something that has driven me nuts. People will come to me with this piece of paper. Yeah, I just need to do cardio because I already have a lot of muscle. Well, yes, you do need to move, and you do need to walk and do different types of cardio. I'm not debating that at all, but you still should be strength training if you are able to do so safely. So, muscle building, this is another problem. People don't take into effect that it takes literally years to grow muscle. It takes weeks, months, and years. So, what do I mean by that? In a few weeks, you can start to see some results, but you're nowhere near where you want to be. In a few more months, you start to see some more, and you're like, wow, I'm getting there. And then a year might go by, even two, and you will start to see development you didn't see months back. And I learned this from bodybuilding because when I did my first show, I've talked about this so much. I thought my 12-week prep was going to make me look like an Olympia athlete. I seriously thought I was going to look a certain way. Well, obviously in 12 weeks I did not. I took off body fat, I put on a little bit of muscle. I looked skinny. Next competition, I looked a little bit better. Took some time off. I did some building, about 6 months. And then from there, I took another 6 months. Actually, it was more like 8 months. I looked a little bit better. Then I think it was another 6 to 8 months and did the next one. And then I began only doing competitions once a year. And I would see changes each and every time. The only time I didn't see those changes was the year that I had my back injury at the L3, L4, and I lost several months of training and had to only do light weights. And that year I did not see the gains, but I actually did come back from that and start to gain muscle again. But it was not something that I saw in a week or two. And so something I'll hear is, well, I've been doing this since whenever, and nothing's changing because it takes time. And then you also have to take into effect that body fat. Is this quality muscle? Are you really putting on that quality muscle? And give it time. It takes weeks, and I mean several weeks, months, and even years. Next up, lifting more weight doesn't necessarily mean that you've actually built muscle. And people make this mistake. They hit a PR with weight. I've done it before. It could be an instance where you got a really good night's sleep, you just feel on top of your game, and you go in the gym and you're able to lift more weight, or maybe you've had a good week. Then you might turn around and have a week where, oh my goodness, the sleep's in the toilet, you're under stress, maybe you ate the wrong things, whatever, and you're just not feeling that good, or you're coming off of a virus, or you're coming off of an injury, and you're not lifting as much. So just by virtue of lifting more weight doesn't mean that you're automatically going to get these big gains. Yes, if you increase weight, you increase resistance, time under tension, you will build and develop those muscles. Yes, but it's not a given because there's so many other factors involved here. I hope that makes sense. It can be a little bit confusing because, sometimes we're just more motivated that day or better rested. So it's more about consistency over time. Are you gradually increasing weight over time? And then once you're to a point where, you know what, I can't safely increase anymore, that's kind of the boat I'm in. Okay, what other means am I using to increase muscle? The amount of protein, I told you, it depends on different factors. Age is one. We talked about this. Lean body mass. How much lean body mass do you have? That's, very different from just looking at your scale weight. That's how much lean weight you have. And then your current goal. So if you're 200 pounds and you want to weigh 130, you're not going to set your protein at 200 grams. You're going to set it down to closer to the 130. And there's another reason too. Activity level does play into this. If if you're doing some little tiny lightweight workout or little tiny band workout that's not doing a whole lot, your body is not requiring as much protein as it would if you were really challenging those muscles. If you aren't working out very often, you're very sedentary. I'm not saying you don't need protein, you do, because it's active in so many other processes of repair and building in the body, and we need those amino acids. I'm just saying that amount might differ. And the next thing we're going to look at, and this might be this is going to be a little challenging for you. I want you to think of your goal right now. Okay, not all of you want to lose weight. I have quite a few clients that weight really isn't the issue, or if it is the issue, it's 5 pounds or something, or it's not weight, they just want to take their body fat down. So maybe that's not the goal. Maybe you want to build your glutes and your legs. Maybe you'd like a little broader, fuller shoulders. Maybe you'd like to increase muscle all over your body while bringing down body fat. Or maybe you want to lose 30 plus pounds. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how dedicated are you to reaching that goal? 0 being, I could care less, and 10 being, I got to do this. Because I'll tell you something, when I made up my mind to change my body, and I don't mean it wasn't weight loss, I was transforming my body, the body composition, and I wanted to do a show, I was at a 10. I was not at a 7. I was not at a 5. I was not going, I'm not sure about this. I was at a full on 10. I was so serious about this. And it made it not easy. Wasn't that it was easy, but it made it easier to stay on track because my dedication to that goal was so high. So even on days I didn't feel good, I wasn't motivated, even on days I didn't feel like going to the gym, my dedication to that goal was high enough to get me out of bed, in the car, and over to that gym. So ask yourself and be honest. I'm not judging you. Maybe you're in the car listening to this or walking, you're by yourself. You don't even have to tell anybody this number. If you want to, you can email me and share it with me or share it with me on Instagram and say, hey, you know what? I have this goal and this is how dedicated I am to this goal. But I want sheer honesty because I see people come in, I want to lose this amount of weight, and then it's this back and forth, back and forth. I did really good, and then this. Well, I was doing great over here, and then that. Think about, and this is not a judgment. I am serious. It is not a judgment because I have set goals before where I have really let myself down. Maybe not physique goals because that's not generally an issue I've had to struggle with for a long, long time because this is a lifestyle for me. But I've done it with business goals. I've done it with spiritual goals. I have let myself down. I have let my God down. So there is no judgment here. But I think really take a look at that and say, how dedicated on a scale of 1 to 10, and it's just you, yourself, and I, and be honest there. Because from what I've seen, one of the biggest differences in clients who get results and those who don't is that level of dedication. And I'm going to use a word here. And I first heard it with coaches that I had for a number of years, um, Matt and Wendy Fortino, and she is a pro figure athlete. He coaches, wonderful coaches. I was with them for many, many years. And I can't even remember what it was they had on their t-shirts because I think I wore mine out and it got so many holes. I had to throw it out. But it was something to the effect of requiring obsession, that if you wanted to reach your goal, you had to be obsessed. Okay, now that's not a popular word. And it's especially not a popular word for Americans, or I think the Western culture in general. Americans turn up their nose at that. Well, obsession means there's something wrong with you. Obsession means maybe you have body image issues, you have an eating disorder, you overexercise. Oh, no, 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 no. Obsession can mean something entirely different. It can be part of that dedication. I would not have gotten that functional medicine certification if I was, whatever. I wouldn't have got it. I had to be slightly obsessed with the goal. I'm planning on writing another book, and it has, and I'm not kidding, I've been obsessed all summer long. I'm in the research process. I'm not quite ready to share it. And you know what? It's not even about health and fitness, nothing to do with it. But it's something I've wanted to do my whole entire life. My mind is set on a scale of 1 to 10. I am a 10. I just need to get the support, the facts together, and get the research going, which I've already got the research going. This is going to take some time, but I'm obsessed. I think about it when I get up. I think about it, right before I go to bed. I talk to my husband about it. I'm excited about this goal, and I'm a little obsessed with it. I'm determined. Obsession doesn't mean a bad thing. It it's not meaning that you're being unhealthy and you're obsessing so much about food that you're making yourself have an eating disorder. It doesn't mean that you're working out to the point that you're injuring yourself or you're, dropping down on the floor as soon as you get home. That's not obsession. The obsession I'm talking about is that dedication. It is being laser focused to the point that if somebody comes in and tries to talk you out of this thing, you're like, no, 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 go back the other way. Even if it's your husband, even if it's your mother, even if it's your father, even if it's your best friend, your sister, your brother, you are going to do this thing. And it doesn't mean you're blowing them off. You love them. You still, they're in your life. Doesn't mean you're blowing off your faith, but it means you got a goal, you got a job to do. It is the routine that it requires to meet your goals. It's doing whatever it takes to get there. Maybe you have to dive deep into your workout technique. Maybe you need to hire a coach. Maybe you need to hire a personal trainer. Maybe you do need to track your meals so you know what you're taking in. Maybe you do need to work with a coach to develop an actual meal plan so that you don't have to track and you have something to follow. When I would get ready for the stage, I did not track. I had a meal plan. And I actually don't like using meal plans to teach people about nutrition. I really don't. And it's actually outside my scope of practice. But I can make suggestions and I can guide them. But what I do like a meal plan for is if you really need help to stay focused on that goal and you just don't have time with the tracker. You got a lot. You're working out. I was doing so much to get ready for competitions. I had posing classes on Zoom. I posed at the gym. I went to the gym twice a day. I did cardio twice a day. I ate certain type of meals. I was prepping. I was watching my water intake. I was focused on my sleep. The meal plan my coach gave me, it helped me. So what do you need? Maybe you need to work with a dietitian. Maybe you need to, like I said, hire a personal trainer to show you the correct lifting techniques. Maybe you need to bump up the intensity. because sometimes people are at the gym, they're taking a 10-minute break between sets to chat. Now, I am not against chatting, and I hope if you ever run into to me at the gym, you don't think I'm rude. Um, I love seeing people I know at the gym and waving and saying hi and a couple of words, but I do not take 10-minute breaks between my set. I do not like doing that. I come there with a goal. I come there with a focus. And I'm sorry, but if I stand there and give somebody the Gettysburg Address, this is not going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to lose the warm up. I'm going to lose my pump. It's not going to happen. A better place to do that socializing is take an exercise class. Sometimes there's time before and after class. That's what I used to do. But if I'm there in the gym to lift, to strength train, I am full on the game. I'm completely into it. I'm not taking 5, 10, 15, 20-minute breaks to do the thing. This is about making fitness your lifestyle, not just something you do, but it is a part of you. It's a part of you. Muhammad Ali said this: I hated every minute of training, which I think is kind of funny considering what he accomplished. He said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. Now, of course, with athletes, they do have to take it to a different level. And I'm not suggesting that you suffer. I'm not suggesting that. But I think the word has a different meaning here. It means you're giving up something to do this thing. Maybe you are giving up, I don't know, watching a Netflix movie, or you're giving up, and I've had to do this sometime, lunch with a friend, because the only time I have to work out is at the lunch hour, and I treat it like an appointment. Maybe you have to drive a distance. Maybe you've got to pay for a membership. Maybe you've got to set up a home gym and buy some equipment. So suffering doesn't necessarily mean that you're, the sweat's pouring down, but there should be some discomfort there. What you want is on the other side of that discomfort. What you want is on the other side of hard, difficult, challenging. And yeah, exercises will burn. I'm not talking about blowing out your back, blowing out your knee. I'm talking about they will challenge your muscles. You will get tired. You will feel a burn. You will be challenged if you're doing squats or doing lunges or do even bicep curls. You will be challenged. And maybe there's going to be some discomfort there, because if you're not feeling anything, you're not there. You're not going to see the results. Consistency, I really already touched about this. It's every workout, it's every healthy meal, it's every step you take that takes you one step closer to that goal. My former coach made a a reel, and it was really kind of funny. It was so him, because this is how he was, obsessed. And he said, you cheat yourself if, let's say, you're supposed to do cardio in the morning and your coach has told you, I want you to get up in the morning. This is real common with competitors. I want you to head to the gym and do 20 minutes on the stairs. But you do 18, or you do 19, or you do 19 and 30 seconds. Now, is that actually hurting your body in some way? No. But he said what it is it's hurting your mindset, because it starts your day by already breaking your commitment to yourself. You're starting off that way. It's kind of like if you have a donut for breakfast and then all day you're hungry and you're on a sugar roller coaster. You started off on the wrong foot. It's so important for your mindset to be in the right place. And if you're cheating yourself, even if it's just a minute of what you said you would do, and you're detracting that minute, your mindset psychologically sets you up for that habit to continue on. Not just that day, but to continue on the next day and the next and the next week. So consistency is king, queen. Honesty with yourself. That's the very last thing I have to say, and I've touched on that already. Be honest with yourself about your commitment, and then be honest with yourself. I get a little frustrated because, yes, there are reasons people cannot lose weight. It's not all just calories in, calories out. But I will say this, you cannot ignore the laws of thermodynamics. So if somebody overeats, even if they do exercise, and even if that food is healthy, if it's more than what their body needs, they are going to gain weight and store fat. There is this to be considered. So many times, those extra bites, that nibble here, that nibble there. And I don't say this to make you feel guilty because I've done that. I've done the nibbles, I've licked the spoon. And in fact, my brother and I used to argue over who licked the cake batter spoon back in the day, which was awful because it was like raw eggs in there. But we would argue over this. So I understand. I've been one, when I used to cook for the kids when they were little, to take these little bites while I made them pancakes or whatever. And so I get it. So no judgment, but just be honest with yourself. Really look at what you're putting in. We tend to under-record what we eat. The quality of food. If you're staying within a caloric range, but the nutrition isn't there and the quality is very, very poor, that could be holding you back. Maybe your macronutrients are way out of whack. Your protein's super low. I know I said I wouldn't talk macronutrients, but I'll say it real quick. And your fat content is through the roof. And I see that a lot with women. They overdo the fats. Do you need fats? Are they healthy? Yes. But they have a lot of calories. And all that nut butter, all those nuts, all those avocados, they add up, sister, and they will have an effect. They've had an effect on me. Typically, when that scale starts to creep up on me, it's it that is the reason for me too. So be honest with yourself. Are you really moving as much as you think you are? I thought I moved more until I got my Oura Ring and my Apple Watch and began actually tracking. And I was shocked because I would get my workout in, I'd get my cardio in, but then I would sit all day at my computer. Now, I did personal train people at a certain point, so I was up and about for that. But later on, online business, I would come home and be on my computer. Now I know I need to move. So right now, I've got a back brace on. I'm 9 weeks out from a spinal fusion. I try to walk. It's always at least 3 miles a day. It's usually 4. And sometimes I go for a short walk in the evening if the weather permits. I am at the gym most days doing some type of light resistance training. I cannot lift heavy. I can't bend. I can't twist. I can't arch. I can't get down on the floor. I can, but it's really hard and it takes a long time to get back up. So I am limited, but I am in that gym every single day. So the woman I met that lost the 90 pounds and then she needed a surgery, and she sat in that chair, and it was sheer victim mentality. This just happened to me. I never would have gained the 90 pounds. I was doing good. And I'm not going to go into too much depth. She used uh, Ozempic, so she used semaglutide to lose the weight. And I am not, this is not pro or against or anything like that. I do feel there is a place to use those, but, but not as a crutch. And you can't ignore your nutrition. You can't ignore your movement. You can't ignore your strength training, your sleep, or your stress. You still got to do all those things. The shot cannot do those things for you. So, from what she described, all of it was coming through the medication. And then went off, had the surgery, and it all came back on. My guess is Probably, and I'm just guessing, and I'm not a doctor, the metabolism was probably significantly lower because a good part of that 90 pounds was muscle because nothing was being done to retain or build muscle. Nutrition was probably never addressed. So the minute that stress of the surgery and being sedentary hit, probably a lot of snacking and some of those habits came back, especially with nothing to suppress the appetite. So I don't say it with judgment once again, but when I'm sitting there and I'm telling her I just had back surgery, and you could just kind of see the look like, well, a little bit of judgment, like, yeah, but it's easy for you. She didn't say that, but it was kind of that look going on. No, it's not easy for me. I fight. I fight. After that depression, or excuse me, that surgery, I'm already prone to anxiety and a low level depression. Had it my entire life since I was a kid. I've done a lot in therapy, a lot to get control of this, but in certain situations, it comes back with a bang. And boy, I had a few days that I just felt about as low as I could conceivably feel. I mean, it was to the point I was ready to call my practitioner and say, what do I do? I can't feel this way. Like, this is awful. And I knew logically what was going on. And I had to fight. I had to fight to get out and walk. It was hot, uncomfortable, sticky. We've had mosquitoes this year in New Mexico. We never get mosquitoes. I had to fight. I had to fight to go to the gym and find things with cables and bands and real lightweight dumbbells that I could do. I had to fight in physical therapy to do some of the things he wanted me to do. What I saw was there was no fight. And I see this in a lot of people. And for instance, with Fit and Fierce, it's called that for a reason. When you sign up for that program, you got to be ready. Are you obsessed? Are you an 8, 9, 10 with that goal? Are you ready to go? Do you want this thing? Will you fight for it? Because I'm telling you something, when you hit perimenopause, it's no joke. There's not a lot of room for error. All of the things matter. The sleep, the stress, the quality of the food, the protein, how many carbohydrates, your steps. And I know it sounds overwhelming. All of it matters. How much water you drink. It's all important. Now, do I mean you have to change every one of those things overnight? No, no. I am still willing to hold someone's hand and walk them through that process. What I'm not willing to do is drag them through that process. There has to be some fight. There has to be some determination, and there's no room for the victim. And I feel so very strongly about this. Things I've gone through in my life, things that my family has gone through. We're now in a place of healing and coming back together. And I don't mean my immediate family with my kids. All that's good. Everything's great with my husband. I mean my extended family, that I grew up with. And we all have had our experiences for what happened in those years. And it has taken a lot of work to get to the point we're coming back together, to get to that point. It's taken a lot of work to go through this back surgery that I did not want to have, that I fought for 8 years not to have. And so when I see somebody just fall into that victim thing, honestly, it's hard for me. It's hard for me. I'm not saying I don't have empathy because I know I've had times I've been the victim. We've all we've all had times. So it's not a judgment, it's an observation. So I really hope this gave something to you that you can use. And I also hope that you didn't find it to be judgy, because that's not how it's meant. That's honestly not how it's meant. When I speak from the heart, and I speak from my truth. Maybe this isn't your truth. Maybe you feel differently. And I do believe people need to take baby steps toward their goal. They don't need to do all the things at once. Choose one thing, choose two, master those, and then choose two more. But you still got to come back to the original question. How much do you want it? And are you going to blame circumstances and other people or even yourself when you hit hard times and you're not seeing the results? Or are you going to dig deeper and dig until you find out how to get those results? Put the victimhood aside, put on the boxing gloves, and go for it. Absolutely go for it. So I would love to hear from you. As always, you could the best place to reach me. I'm not that active on Facebook anymore. I was hacked on there, lost my business page, all my followers, my ads, everything. So needless to say, I'm not that much into building it. You can come over and friend me on Facebook. It's Carol Covino, but I'm most active on Instagram, Carol Covino Fitness. And that's really the only platforms that I'm on at this point. I'm not a TikTok person. I just don't have time for it. You can send me a message. You can send me an email, carol@carolcovino.com. You can visit my website, and you can also sign up for my newsletter. That way you find out the latest things that are happening. There will be a couple of free resources in the show notes. All you do is click on that. You'll get a free gift and you are put on my email list. And if for any reason you're like, you know what, this isn't for me, I, I don't want these emails, you just unsubscribe. No big deal. Your information is safe. It's never sold, anything like that. So it's all safe with me. It's all good. And you can always pick up my book. I don't know if you can see this. I always move to the wrong direction. There we go. Finding Purpose in the Pause, Your Guide to Thriving in Menopause and Beyond. My daughter and her boyfriend made this for me, took the cover and blew it up and put it in this beautiful frame. So you can always read that book and learn more there. So membership is coming. That is definitely a go, and be looking for that soon. And changes to Fit and Fierce are coming as well. So hope you have a beautiful, blessed day wherever you are in the world. And we will talk soon. Bye for now.